Sir, you have to pay for your pizza. Looks good out there. Let's round these guys up. I needed a cheese. Honey Badger Skull. My very, 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 very famous foot stop. Octo tentacles to go with octo head. Glorious big dolphin. Big old David head. Another dolphin head. Big old alien head. It's nice to see that coming along. This, something got a snag. Not very much plastic was wasted, but that sucks. And the only real tragedy today, this guy. It's a classic filament snag right there, in all likelihood. Really, it was like that, but who cares? Man, these coffee cups, I'm gonna have to make just a couple of these extra up for Christmas ahead of time, because like, they're kind of not that easy to print. Mainly because they just take a long time. It's like a filament snag. I mean, the winding is pretty good. I guess I don't know for sure that that's what it is, but it's what makes sense with what it did. Oh, we got most of the stuff packaged that we need to ship out today. We do have a couple of big things, so we'll crack a lack on that. Also, we have some recycled material to use. And actually, I need to keep filtering this because it's probably not done. So that's nice. It's very large, but here is my beautiful boy. Time to take the eyes off. There we go, ready to be taken to his leader. Gonna drop off those packages so they can get on the earliest truck out of there, which is always a good thing. Then we're gonna start heating these guys up when we get back. Feels good to have a functional car, don't it? All right, got a car full of stuff.
But he comes back.
Mission accomplished. I came 45 minutes before the FedEx guy was supposed to get here. And they were like, oh, the FedEx guy is here. I'll drop this off, or I'll hand this off to him. Like, when does the FedEx guy actually show up? But then I heard they explained, sometimes there's just a bunch of packages and the FedEx guy comes early, but then he also comes at 3:30, so whatever. Oh well, anyway, I just like to know the schedules of things. Maybe I've gotten too adult with this stuff. All this business stuff is just making me too mature. I don't know. Let's get some coffee. Considering that the only good thing anybody ever said about Mussolini was that he made the trains run on time, it must be really hard to make the trains run on time. And also, you're saying something good about like a pretty bad dictator. That indicates to me that it must be impressive. If you're like, well, he's a dictator, but man, he did make the trains run on time. It's like kind of makes it sound like it's a pretty hard thing to do. I think we're gonna skip the dunk today. I think it is a Dutch Brothers kind of day. A very common thing is like people will make other people's motivations, they will construe other people's motivations as very, very shallow or simple. And they won't realize that people are really complex. Sounds like a basic thing, but it's so true. And I think that's usually a mistake. But then again, sometimes I think at the bottom of all those motivations for any given person, they just either want to make the world better or they actually want to make the world worse. Sometimes I really can't decide which it is, whether people at the absolute root are really complex or like at the absolute root people are just really simple. Because it's like, think about you're just like out either at a grocery store or a fast food restaurant or something like that, and the person behind the counter clearly, or at the drive-through, clearly is just trying to like make your day worse. They're just trying to do the bare minimum that they can do to not get fired while still being like really resentful. And like, I get it, I hate those kind of jobs, I've worked those kind of jobs, but it's like you really get busy living or you get busy dying. It's like everything you do that involves other people, you can be working towards making their day a little worse, which is in a fractional way making their life worse, because your life is just made of days. It's just made of time. You're either making that better for other people or you're making it worse. At least you either have the motivation to make it better or the motivation to make it worse, let's say. So yeah, I haven't really made up my mind about that, but sometimes it seems like the choice in life is actually, when you really get down to it, it just is very simple. Maybe the thing that inclines me to think that way is because everything is kind of like that, or a huge majority of things is kind of like that. You're kind of making people's experiences better, or you're making them worse. That doesn't necessarily mean you're being superficially kind all the time. Like sometimes making somebody's life better is like calling them out on their crap, right? Sometimes people are making big mistakes and you just see that nobody in their little life is like telling them. And if it's somebody you care about, you're gonna say something. Sounds like somebody's having a bad time over here. So yeah, it's like even criticisms can come from a good place or a bad place. Again, kind of a obvious observation. But it is like, man, you're either trying to make things better or you're not. I don't know. I'm not 100% decided, but it feels like that's really what's at the bottom of everything. Wow, something's going on. See, paramedics are actually a pretty good example. I knew a guy who was a paramedic one time, and he was a strange guy. He actually owns a soap company, not a big one, but enough to pay the bills. Now, years later, decades later, but he was a pill addict. He was one of those people that would just get the pills in those baggies and just like pop them like crazy. And it's like he wasn't even thinking about what they were. But despite that, he was like a really, it feels weird to say, but he was like a really good guy. He had an addiction. I guess he must have got over it because he's not dead. And he seems like he's got a nice little family and stuff, so I guess that worked out. But like he was like, I was stuck in a ditch once. This happens a lot in Indiana, you know, and he came and just pulled me out, and it was like really late at night, and this was outside of the city. He like drove for a long time to come get me. I texted a bunch of people, and I guess he was just one of them. I did not expect him. Like, I knew this guy was an addict. I did not expect this guy to come help me, but he did. It's like somewhere deep down in him, he just wanted to make things better, even though he was popping those like Xanaxes like candy. If you're wondering why I'm ranting so much, it's because I have nothing better to do. I'm stuck in this line. Well, we're moving on up. Took a little bit, but worth it. Beautiful SFA campus. Don't normally come this way, but sometimes you gotta change things up. Well, we're back at the shop here. Kind of random. I've thought about, like, I don't know what the YouTube policies are about this stuff. Since the videos are kind of part of the business in some kind of sense, I thought about like talking about the revenue from them. But I remember YouTube had like rules against that. So I kind of decided not to do that. Just to be on the safe side. I don't want to jeopardize anything. But it's been going like stupid good. I mean, it's not like I'm getting rich or something, but like I started this is episode 80 something, so under 3 months ago, and I'm making like almost a rent payment from it. Maybe we'll talk about it like that. This is so strange. Like, listen, man, I've worked at Burger King. I should do a resume sometime. We'll just talk about like all the jobs I've done at some point maybe. But I've only twice in my life ever not made minimum wage hourly. Actually, there was a job I got when I was 19 that was 10 bucks an hour. Yeah, I was working in a Verizon warehouse which was not a fun job. I mean, it wasn't like the worst thing ever, but there's a reason they paid you 10 bucks an hour, which was actually kind of sort of okay money back then. Not really, but be like the equivalent of maybe $16, $17 an hour now, I would guess. That's like half my life ago. Anyway, so like I'm very used to, like, if you're getting $1, you worked for that. Like when you're working at Burger King, like, and you make 200 bucks a week, like you feel like you earned it, dude. Like you earned that money. Whereas like if I make something close to that from these YouTube videos, don't get me wrong, I'm trying to make these like entertaining and stuff, and like, you know, have all the things we talk about. It's an authentic slice of life. I'm trying to like entertainment, some value, showing you how to do some of the things I do that are a little unique or whatever. But I don't feel like I'm earning it in the same way that I would feel like I'm earning it if I'm flipping burgers, you know? Like flipping the burgers, getting all the burns all over your arms and stuff. Like, this is so much easier than that. It feels like some cosmic mistake that somebody would pay me to do this. I don't know if I would do it for free, but like, I'm not expecting a lot out of this. It's fun. I'm very happy to be doing it. It's at this point, it's more fun for the community. I like seeing the stuff you guys write and like responding to things here and there. On the 99th episode, we're gonna do that questions. So get your questions ready for episode 99. I've been meaning to mention that. But yeah, it just feels weird that somebody's paying me to do this. Like, so strange. Oh yeah, I meant to mention that warehouse job I got when I was 19, making 10 bucks an hour. I got fired after like 2 weeks. That's why I didn't remember it. I mean, I was 19, so I don't even have to make excuses for this. But the reason I got fired is because they did that thing. I think this is illegal now. I feel like I've heard that. They did this thing where they hire twice as many people as they actually want to have employed. And then they just like measure how many, it was programming cell phones and like doing other stuff. It's a long story. But they find the most productive half of people and then just fire the bottom half. And I was 19, I was like really young, so I wasn't that good at a lot of things, let's say. And so they canned me. They canned me and like everybody I knew at that job, basically. Started the spool moving before I plugged it in. That is a rule now. Thinking about the whole monetization thing we were talking about, I just realized I've never asked and I have no idea. Like, tell me in the comments. I'm never gonna discuss specifics. I'm never gonna like show screenshots because I think that's against YouTube rules, like I said. And then, even if it isn't, I don't want to like do anything even close because like this is not something I'm going to screw up. But just tell me in the comments, do you guys want to hear about that? To some degree, I mean, I'm here to serve, you know. So tell me what you guys think about that. I'm fine never talking about it. I'm fine talking about it more, or at least occasionally. Just tell me what your preference is. I listen to the people, man. I'm a businessman. I serve customers. I make people happy. Like, I'm not gonna gloat about it, and it's not really something to gloat about. It's like a sort of okay part-time job at this point, I guess. It's nothing like crazy impressive. But yeah, I just want to be responsive to the audience. I actually do care about that stuff, especially since this came out of nowhere, and it's like, I'm grateful for it. We're the gratitude gang, so I want to make sure that I'm serving you guys right. Also kind of random, but somebody ordered a giant cheese from me, and they just messaged me to tell me that it's for a production of the Nutcracker. Not exactly sure where cheese factors into that, but that's cool. Okay, I just heard some squeaking, and I've noticed that this thrust bearing is moving sometimes and not moving other times. So if this thing slows down again, which it was just starting to do, if it slows down again, I'm just gonna replace that thrust bearing, because it seems to me pretty clear that the motor must be okay. and I was getting a little bit of squeaking. It's not doing it now, but if it starts squeaking again or slows down, I'm probably just gonna replace that thrust bearing. Random. Time to get the D20 out the dough. I always say this, but man, it'd be so cool if they actually sent me pictures of this at their wedding. Like, it's been like 3 or 4 people that ordered these things for weddings for some reason. Like, why don't they send me some pics? Come on. Do I need one of those RSVP things? I'm gonna go like look up their address and find the wedding and then like try to show up and be like, I made that. I made that. Really bubble wrapped the crap out of this thing. You can see we got a whole bunch of layers. This is for somebody's wedding, so I'm gonna go the extra mile. I don't even need this. I know from experience I don't even need this much bubble wrap, but like we're not even gonna take like the 0.001% chance or anything. There we go. Marital happiness in a box. I just ran down the street to drop that off. The person messaged me back and they're so stoked. I feel like they're really gonna send pictures of the D20 from their wedding. Like I told them, I didn't demand that they do it or anything, but I told them like, my people on social media are gonna be really stoked if we can get some pictures. No pressure, but if you get some pictures, please send them to me. Like, I'm always sending all this stuff off, but I very rarely see people use it or put it wherever they're gonna put it. It's just really satisfying because it makes you feel like you're actually doing something, you know? Like, if you're just putting stuff in boxes and shoving it out the door, it almost feels like you're not even really doing anything. The people on the other side don't feel real psychologically. Check this out. This is where the coffee cup that messed up was. I thought it was a clog or something. Look at that. That thing's moving around. That's the problem right there. Something came loose. Yup. That's the one right there. Okay, the bearing definitely failed because it's coming out the back. You'll notice I put green to mark where it was at to see if it comes out, and it did. That's not a good thing. Although we caught this early enough that the motor shouldn't get messed up. I think the next step is to replace this. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow or something. We'll push this back with a clamp and put the bearing in place, and we'll try and order a different bearing, bearing with a larger sort of outer diameter. Got a little gator boy here. This guy, of course, is going green. Big old dolphin. Pretty much came out just about right, but we'll get rid of the little strings. I'm out here segwaying. I was just thinking about an interesting question. In music, in the music game, there's always this debate about like how much of your music should be sort of inspired by you and who you are as a person, and how much of it should be like you're just playing what the audience wants. Because maybe this is kind of debatable, but both extremes are kind of bad. Like, if you're just doing self-indulgent music that nobody really understands, I mean, I love some of that stuff personally, but generally it's very hard to, gotta dodge the branch. It's very hard to be successful if you're making music that nobody understands. I know this firsthand because that's pretty much what I did. I mean, there were people that understood it, but it wasn't, anyway, that's a whole different discussion. But then it's like, isn't it kind of lame to just constantly be making music that like, it's exactly what everybody wants? It's just like the top 40 crap that we all kind of know deep down is BS. It's like you can be completely captured and controlled by the audience and just literally only do things that your audience wants to see or listen to, whatever. But it's also like you can be so self-indulgent that nobody can even appreciate what you're trying to convey. So that's the thing in music, and I was kind of thinking about this channel because it's like, it's kind of on an upward trajectory. I mean, like, maybe this never becomes a big thing, and I'm totally fine with this. This is just gravy. But I was thinking, like, I probably want to aim for something in the middle of those two extremes. It's like, I'm not going to just make videos that are like the kind of thing that only I would ever think is funny or interesting. But at the same time, like, man, YouTube is just full of people that will just day in, day out, just make the same slop over and over again, right? Like, they're going for total clickbait. We've talked about this before, but they go for total clickbait and just like, they just want you to consume, you know? They're just trying to get clicks and watch hours and show you ads, and that's all it is. Like, we all know this is a thing, right? And they do that because that's just what a lot of people will click on and watch. So if you're going for 100% like audience response, there's a reason everybody does that. So tell me in the comments what you guys think about this, because is my tire flat? I think it's fine, but tell me in the comments what you think about this, because I want to strike the right balance. Like, I'm not just trying to be like totally audience captured, but I want to be you know, I'm grateful that you guys are watching and clicking and doing all this stuff and subscribing, though I never tell you to. You just do it anyway. So like, I want to be grateful for that, and that's obviously a big part of the gratitude thing. But at the same time, it's just, you don't want none of what's in these videos to be authentic either. It's like, that's kind of the balance. So tell me in the comments what you think about that. Tiny froggy boy. It's either going silver or gold, I forget. Here's that honey badger. It's basically perfect. Just a little bit of stringing, but we're gonna paint this Sunset Fade, which you've seen before, but it's been a while. Getting a lot of stuff done. Been doing just a bunch of random things, but check this out. We are really starting to fill up this wall. I'm gonna have to fix the bearing. We'll probably get into that tomorrow. But you can see, like, we're making some progress here. Yesterday's episode was me going on a road trip and that not working out. But somebody else got back to us and really wants me to come tomorrow, and we're gonna do it. Yep. One day after a failed road trip, we are going to have a hopefully not failed road trip. Tomorrow we are going to Sanger, Texas. I haven't heard of it either, but I think it's also about 3 hours away. So we are very caught up on orders. I got like 3 good reviews today, 3 or 4. It was really nice. So things are going pretty good here at the shop. I think we'll be all right to hit the road tomorrow. So we gonna do it. Lastly, we're doing another wall alien. This is too fun to spin for me right now. Alien head to go along with it. I've been setting up the printers to print overnight, and hopefully we'll get another round in the morning. But since I have figured out that I am taking a trip tomorrow, I've tried to make all the preparations as best I can. Current plan is to package a couple crucial things in the morning, and then package stuff when I get back and drop it off at the post office overnight so that it gets out as quickly as possible. But it's about I think it's like maybe 3.5 hours away, so I gotta be smart about the time. Obviously, top priority things go out first, just like the restaurant business. First in, first out. I hear something outside. Well, anyway, what are we grateful for today? It's definitely an odd phenomenon that happens when you have a somewhat busy lifestyle. Like, when I think about the beginning of this day, it feels like it was about yesterday. Sometimes it's kind of hard to remember what I even did today. I guess one thing I'm really grateful for is I caught that thrust bearing was having a problem. And the reason that's important is if that gets too bad, it's gonna mess up the motor, which, you know, I really don't want to do. So it's nice that I caught that. I'm really grateful that I'm getting a bunch of filament saved up. Man, in like a month, you guys are gonna know exactly why I'm doing that. I'm telling you, the Christmas season is coming and it is just bedlam. I will still be making videos though. I've decided this. Like, it's crazy enough that I almost thought about saving a tiny bit of time by not making videos, but it's gonna be such an ordeal. I feel like you guys just gotta come with me on the journey. Like, I've done this will be my 7th Christmas. I started in October, I think this month, about 6 years ago. So right before the first Christmas, this will be the 7th Christmas I've done this 3D printing business. And it'll probably be the most intense. Really underscoring why I gotta get that printer tomorrow. Really, it'd be nice to have like 8 big printers. Probably 8. But anyway, I'm grateful that I've got one of those to pick up tomorrow. And yeah, it's great. It's great that everything's kind of working right. Tell me in the comments what you're grateful for, what small moments are giving you joy, what projects you're working on, what you like about the videos. I asked a couple questions about other things earlier that I'm kind of forgetting, but I appreciate answers to those too. So I'll catch you tomorrow. Big day tomorrow. Peace.